Hello, I'm back again. So this is part 8 of the Black Sabbath deal. Um, and Today I'm talking about 13. That's apostrophe 13, the album that Sabbath put out um, in 2013. Hence the title. Some people tried to read some more into it than that, including myself, before the obvious kind of clubbed me over the skull. But in any case, this is kind of an apocryphal album for me. It's kind of like Too Little Too Late from the Ozzy camp, Sabbath, no Billboard. I discussed some of the circumstances leading up to this in the last video. I actually shot a video for this album a couple of days ago and was not happy with it at all. It was even more rambling than my usual nonsense. So, in any case, I'm just going to say that it's the kind of by numbers, late in the game metal album from Sabbath. Doomy, kind of the breaks come when you think they're going to come. The solos come when you think they're going to come. And once again, and some great solos. And there's one going on right now behind me. I'm listening to the album, and the first track is End of the Beginning, which is one of the few tracks I really enjoy on it. So what else does this have going for it or against it? All right, so in the against column, there's more of that. Ozzy's voice is worn out. He is very effective at times. This song, fairly effective. But I tend to think that these great lyrics that Geezer worked on, because he wrote the lyrics to the album, just like in the old days with Ozzy, that they deserved a better vocal expression than what they were given. Some good melodies in this, some of which are some good vocal melodies from Ozzy. But I'm not of the camp who thinks because Ozzy wrote his own vocal melodies, that means he wrote the songs or the lyrics. But there are a lot of fans who do believe these things, and that's their right. I mean, to be inaccurate. But you can't take away what he brought to the songs in the old days. With this album, you kind of can, because he didn't really bring a lot to the songs. He brought Ozzy, just that voice, that phrasing, nothing passionate. Not even like The Devil You Know. I mean, that was a grinding, heavy album. So in that sense, even though it also had a lot of conventional structures and such, and repetitious parts and things you've heard before, at least it was played with a certain amount of conviction, and sang with a certain amount of conviction, and quality be damned. I mean, like I said, I wasn't a big fan of the Devil You Know album. A couple songs I loved, and a couple I thought were okay, and the rest I don't even remember them, to be honest. Atom and Evil, that was one. I don't know. This album, I don't remember most of them either. It was like Damaged Soul and Naivety in Black, which is pretty clever because it's a riff on, or the pun, riff on Nativity in Black, which people thought Midnight Beast stood for years. That song, lyrics and bass riff being written by Geezer Butler once again. That guy's a writing machine. So him and Tony, yeah, I think they deserved a better closeout than this, but maybe this is all they really had in them. And maybe they just needed to show that, hey, we can do it with Ozzy. We can't do it without Bill Ward yet again. And Brad Wilk is on drums, and he's in one of the more, modern rock kind of bands that I'm familiar with to an extent, but I'm not deeply entrenched in their tunes or album discography. I want to say Rage Against the Machine. I want to say Tool. I want to say one of those two bands. But I don't know. He's very just kind of plodding, and he's okay. He's like a slacker version of Eric Singer. He sounds tighter because of the production, but he's not really doing anything more interesting than Eric Singer was on his albums with Sabbath. Now Tony is doing some amazing work, but maybe that's to be expected. He was coming off of cancer when this happened. His hair had fallen out, and he was in the studio wearing black baseball caps, and he had some problems with his hand, the riffing hand, which I guess for him is this hand, because this is the one with the missing fingers. And we're going to get into some of that mythology of Tony Iommi, which is all true mythology, in the myth conception section, starting in the very next episode. But for this episode, there isn't really a lot to say. My favorite song is "God Is Dead?" ? And I think this is it. Yeah, I like this song a lot, and I think Ozzy's effective, as he is on a few of his solo tracks and his first couple albums. He's going along with the music. He's kind of, when you say Ozzy writes vocal melodies, it's kind of a sort of yes, but not exactly. I mean, I'm a singer and I've been in bands, and I mean, I tend to sing like over the riff, a melody over the riff in kind of a modal way, which Dio does that. I don't do it like Dio or as well as Dio. I mean, well, he doesn't anymore, but um, Ozzy just goes in rhythm with the music, kind of like a rapper, and it's okay. And then he throws in some little twists and turns in that key, which are some cool little melodies. So that's what he kind of writes, I guess, or brings to the table. He's got the great on this one. Yeah, he's great on this song. See, I give Ozzy credit when he's great. I don't hold back. But God Is Dead is, yeah, it's my favorite on here. But the album kind of gets bogged down with the sameness. There's like a psychedelic sequel to Planet Caravan that's, I mean, musically it's very nice, but um, there's a lot of songs that they were written by Geezer Butler, the lyrics, but the spirit of them, that kind of spirit of disaffected, you know, rebelliousness that Ozzy infused his persona with for so many years, that's there. That's prominent. So that way, live, Ozzy comes off like, yeah, I'm a loner and I'm a damaged guy, and and it's like that's kind of what. But maybe Ozzy is a loner. Maybe Ozzy is a damaged guy. I mean, if you get down to the deep roots of why he started singing blues and singing the way he does, a lot of it has to do with their upbringing in Birmingham. And again, I'll get to that soon, but not on this chapter. So I want to bow out gracefully and have a short video just so I can say, hey, I took care of this. I will say that they did an album after this, a live album called Gathered in Their Masses, a line from War Pigs. Okay solo album, but one of their weakest records, overall, even though, well, okay, not a record, one of their weakest discs overall. Though I think it is out on vinyl too, because that's kind of making a comeback. I worked at a store a couple of years ago, in 2013 actually. I worked at a store which had 13, and I bought it on CD, but they had it on vinyl for sale. It was selling pretty well. I think this album charted higher than any albums of theirs in America since Heaven and Hell, easily. Could have been one. It could have been their biggest. I'm not sure. I'd have to do some research on that. I will do that because that's kind of interesting to me how these things chart. I mean, how much they break over to the popular side of the audience. The masses that they're gathered in, and that's about it. They did the end tour, and I mean, it's good that Ozzy did this document. I think he did a solo album after this, even though he kept saying he was retiring for good. He's been saying that for 30 years. I mean, even Bowie gave that up after he got back from Tin Machine. He was not calling all his tours the farewell tour. Deep Purple has had a bad habit of doing that the last couple of albums, but they still leave it a little open-ended. But I think 2020 may be the end of Deep Purple playing live forevermore, which is sad, but they are, getting up there, and Ian's voice is not what it was. So anyway, let me not go off on a Deep Purple tangent. This is a great song. I don't know if you can hear it or not. It's a big slush of noise back there, which which might sound great to a lot of people, even me when I'm in the mood. Great riffs. I have to say that I think Sabbath went out with a whimper, not a bang. They went out with a bang commercially. You know, creatively they went out with a dim whimper, and it's okay. You know, it is what it is, as the kids say. And you know, like I said, 1992's Dehumanizer was the last great album recorded under the name Black Sabbath, because you know, The Devil You Know is not under the name Black Sabbath, and this one is. And the latter Tony Martin albums, which are a bit dire overall, are no slighting to Tony Martin. I think he was a steadfast and true vocalist and ally to Naomi during some difficult years. I think he often gets the shaft. I think perspective is important in these things, critical perspective. You're going to have a discussion. And I think Tony Martin gets overrated by people younger than me who they came to Black Sabbath with him as the preeminent vocalist. That was his era, you know, from like the late 80s through the mid 90s. That was, you know, a lot of people were probably teenagers then and we're like, yeah, man, this is Black Sabbath. And which is fine. You know, to me, this is Black Sabbath means all of it, really. I mean, I don't have a particular uh, absolute greatest era per se. I've got some least favorite ones, lesser favorite ones. But for me, it was the Dio Gillen and Hughes years. That was when I was a teenager, and wow, you know. And then coming off of that with Tony Martin, so I still had a more of a grounding. And I could tell Tony Martin's material was started off strong, but was getting watered down, and it wasn't all his fault. You know, Tony can only come up with so many riffs. Um, they stopped being adventurous on a really adventurous level. I mean, they kept experimenting up to Never Say Die, and then again on Born Again. But you know, the last truly adventurous album was Sabotage, and what an album it is, though. We'll talk about that some more detail later. So in this one, I'm going to put a little picture of the trio of Black Sabbath. Only three guys left standing. I forgot the name of the keyboardist on this album. I want to say it's Adam Warren. Is that right? Or Adam Wakeman? I know Adam Wakeman, Rick Wakeman's son, played with them for a time after Jeff Nichols left. I just can't remember because I get him mixed up with the guy who played keyboards on the Heaven and Hell tour. It was the guy from Dio's band replacing Jeff Nichols. So on this tour, the drummer was Tommy, I think his name Clefestos. I might be saying it wrong. He's maybe Greek. I'm not sure. He's a lot better than the guy on the album. But now he was from Ozzy's band, and you know the keyboardist was from Ozzy's band, and so you know just like they do with Dio, you know they made concessions. They got their favorite people in on the drum and keyboard stools, and that's fine as long as you don't try to replace Tony and Geezer, you know. So I think it's time now to take a leave before I hit the 15-minute mark. The first track that's coming on here that I find a little, yeah, you know, okay, it's rock, you know. It's just, you know, it's just that. It's mindless. It's not powerful to me. It's just me, though. The production was by Rick Rubin, by the way, who took a long time to get the sound he wanted, and you thought for years maybe he'd be perfect for Sabbath, but not this lineup in this era, no. Maybe another time. I think they need a fuller sound and more something. It's all a mood issue now. So they disbanded in 2017. So we can now get into their history in the next one, and I appreciate you listening to all these. And if you find anything of value in this, I'm touched because sometimes I think I'm just rattling things off, and sometimes I probably am. Today I'm in kind of any mood. So anyway, take care of yourselves. Onward,